Hey Canucks fans, it's discussion time. Which core would you rather have? The core of the Colorado Avalanche or the core of the Vancouver Canucks? I'm Clay Emo. I'm at Canuck Clay on Twitter. I'm at Clay Emo on Instagram. I'm the founder of the GLCPC, the Good Looking Canucks Positivity Club, and this is my Canucks take, all in one take. It's Clay's Canucks commentary for Sunday, November the 17th. Thanks to everyone who checked out my vlog from yesterday, my post-game vlog. As you know, I was at the game with 3 of the 4 other members of my family, and the vlog was going fine until I got kicked out by an overzealous usher. Now, I cleared the recording of my vlog with a different usher. He knew I was only going to take 2 or 3 minutes, but near the end of my vlog, near the end of the vlog, another usher came and was giving me the heave-ho signal as I was recording. I almost dropped the "don't you know who I am" line, but then I realized that no, she doesn't know who I am, and she would still kick me out just the same. But I can record today without fear of getting kicked out. At least that's my hope. So I was at last night's game, very entertaining as I recap. 5-4 overtime loss to the Colorado Avalanche. We did a lot of things well, i.e. the second power play unit, Adam Gaudette, Josh Levo, and we the comeback obviously at the end of the third period, very exciting. I feel bad for Matt Calvert. Hopefully he's okay. But yeah, that was another talking point, which I won't get to today. But yeah, simply a lot of people, most people felt bad for him. There were a few insensitive people who was saying, "Oh, it's part of the game," and by the letter of the law, by the rule, yes, the Avalanche got to touch the puck before the whistle, is blown. But it was almost ironic or weird that the Canucks scored on it. You can even tell Pettersson felt bad. He almost stopped playing for a split second, and I think JT Miller actually gave him a quick stick tap after the Canucks scored just to make sure he was okay. So hopefully Matt Calvert is indeed okay. But admittedly, that was the catalyst to the Canucks tying up that game. Right, that was the third goal, and they scored one more, and they at least escaped last night's game with a point. But today what I want to talk about is the core of the Colorado Avalanche compared to the core of the Vancouver Canucks, and brought to light by the amazing performances last night of Nathan MacKinnon, 3 points, 2 goals, and 1 assist, including the wonderful overtime winner, a brilliant display of speed and skill, and the play of Makar, the rookie defenseman, the best rookie defenseman in the NHL. I love our Quinn Hughes, but Makar is something else. 4 points last night. I think all 4 of them were assists last night, and his skill and his speed and his hockey sense, hockey IQ, everything that we talk about Quinn Hughes, that was on full display in last night's game. So prior to last night's game, knowing that the Colorado Avalanche are a good team, even though they weren't playing without Rantanen and Landeskog, I have both Rantanen and Landeskog in my fantasy pool actually, so that was the only reason why I was upset, but I thought it'd give the Canucks a better chance of winning. I put a poll question up on Twitter, and I got a lot of responses, over 800 replies, or 800 votes I should say. And I said, which core would you rather have? And I just said it like that. I didn't say now or down the road or who's going to win the Stanley Cup. I worded it like, which core would you rather have? And I compared the Canucks core 4 of Pettersson, Boeser, Horvat, and Quinn Hughes with the Colorado Avalanche core 4 of MacKinnon, Rantanen, Landeskog, and Makar. And I thought it was a fair poll question. I even preluded by saying try and be as unbiased as you can, because obviously the majority of my followers are Vancouver Canucks fans. And generally when I do a poll like this, it always skews towards the Canucks, no matter what I'm asking. But to Canucks fans' credit, or maybe it got wider spread than just my followers, it was a very fair vote, and 60% people said Colorado, and 40% said Vancouver. So it's close. It wasn't a landslide, but I was grateful to see, in some respects, that it wasn't a Vancouver win by a landslide, especially because I think that's a little unrealistic. So today I'm going to break down the comparisons, and I'm going to talk about ultimately why I think that Colorado Avalanche's, the Colorado core is better right now, and the Vancouver core, I don't think it's going to exceed it, but I think a good target or good aim for Vancouver is for our core 4 to be as strong as Colorado's core 4. You'll see what I mean. And a couple of qualifications here. Number one, I recognize, and I'll talk about the ages, I recognize that the Colorado Avalanche core 4 is older, but man to man, every single comparison I'm going to make, the Colorado Avalanche player is older than the Vancouver Canucks player. So that's, I think, a big factor, but that's what makes these comparisons fun, right? Or even more difficult, admittedly. We can't compare apples to apples exactly right now. We kind of have to take into account the fact that the Canucks are younger, and that that we obviously each player is being in the league a little for less time than the comparable to the Avalanche. Actually, except for one of the 4 comparisons, but I'll get to that in a second. The other thing I want to say is I'm looking at these 4 versus these 4 only. And by the way, it's funny, of those 8 guys that I mentioned, I have 5 of them on my fantasy team. I have Hughes, Boeser, Pettersson, Landeskog, and Rantanen. So the only four of three of those five, 3 of the 8 that I don't have Horvat because I used to have him, but you guys know, follow me on Twitter. I actually dropped him, picked up JT Miller instead. I need more help on the wing. I don't have MacKinnon. I wish I did, and I don't have Makar, but I do have 5. I do have Pettersson, Boeser, Hughes, Landeskog, and Rantanen. So Colorado Avalanche are one of my favorite teams aside from the Vancouver Canucks, of course. Okay, I digress. Let's go back to what I'm talking about. The core 4 of the Canucks: Pettersson, Boeser, Hughes, Horvat versus the core 4 of the Colorado Avalanche, and that is MacKinnon, Rantanen, Landeskog, and Makar. I would dare say, if I was to really do my best to kind of project how the Canucks are going to do, I would say that, like I said, my main point here is I think if our Canucks players are just as good, or not just, are as good as the Colorado Avalanche players, then we should be happy. I think it's unrealistic to think we're going to exceed those core 4, but you can disagree down in the comments. I'm going to break it down, player by player, and I'll do comparisons. And I'm going to compare just for ease of making this easier to follow, because I don't use any graphics. I'm not going to edit this, so really you just got to go by trust my stats and go by my voice. I'm going to compare them like this. I'm going to go MacKinnon and Pettersson. I'm going to go Rantanen and Boeser. I'm going to go Landeskog and Horvat. And I'm going to the easy one, Makar and Hughes, the 2 rookie defensemen. And we'll kind of add them up and we'll go from there. But spoiler alert, I think that Colorado Avalanche, they have the stronger core just by a bit. But if Vancouver aspires to be as good as that core, I'd be happy. I think all Canucks fans would be happy. I'm not sure if they're going to exceed what the Avalanche have now. But you can obviously agree or disagree with me in the comments. Okay, let's do this pretty quickly. Number 1, Nathan MacKinnon versus Elias Pettersson. Nathan MacKinnon, he was the first overall pick back in 2013. So he's 24 years old. 24 years old, and already in 6 seasons, he's had seasons of 63 points, then a low one at 38. His sophomore season had a bit of a jinx. They went 52, 53, and then exploded the last 2 seasons for 97 and 99 points. And in those last 2 seasons, he had 39 goals, and last season he had 41 goals. So you can see in the past 2 years, he's really exploded. Like I said, 63, 38, then 52, 53 in his first 4 seasons, and then an explosion to 97 and 99 points. You could argue he's one of the top 5 players in the league, maybe with McDavid, with Crosby, and MacKinnon is often thought in those, not only the top 5, sometimes even the top 3, but certainly a top 5 player, and that was on display yesterday. So, franchise center, obviously, Nathan MacKinnon. His comparable, Elias Pettersson. Now, Pettersson won the Rookie of the Year last year. Pettersson just turned 21 yeyears old, so he's 3 years younger than MacKinnon. Coming in a year later, comparatively speaking as well, because he's only 3 years younger than MacKinnon, but he's only played 1 season as opposed to 6 for MacKinnon. Even if he was equal, if you follow what I'm saying, then Pettersson would have 2 or 3 seasons under his belt as opposed to the 1. So he basically came in a year or 2 later than MacKinnon did. Pettersson was the 5th overall pick back in 2017. We know that. And last year he had a really good season of 66 points, winning the Calder Trophy. So far this year, he has 25 points in 21 games. MacKinnon has 29 points in 20 games. So MacKinnon has more points this season. MacKinnon is 3 years older. MacKinnon was the 1st overall pick. Pettersson was the 5th overall pick. Okay, this is what I think for this. I think if Pettersson can be as good as MacKinnon, Canucks fans will be absolutely thrilled, because now we're talking about a franchise center. I don't know if you say generational talent or elite talent, whatever term you want to use. And I know different people have different parameters when it comes to using words like that. But, first line center, franchise center, I think that's good. I think that's really good. And I think Canucks fans would be happy. Is he going to be better than Nathan MacKinnon? That's really hard for me to say. As much as I love Petey, I don't know if he's going to be better than MacKinnon. Is Pettersson going to be putting up 97, 99 point seasons, 100 point seasons 3 years from now? He could. I certainly think it's within his realm of possibility, and I would never say that he can't, but I'm not sure if he will. And even if Pettersson's a 90, 95, 97 point player, we'd be very happy. So do I think that Pettersson is worse than MacKinnon? No, I think he's going to be equal to MacKinnon in impact, importance, number 1 center, franchise center. If he's better than MacKinnon, I think that's going to be a bonus, but I think that's too hard to guess right now. But I certainly don't think he's going to be much worse than MacKinnon. That's not a slight on MacKinnon, obviously. I just said MacKinnon's one of the top 5 players in the league. I think Pettersson can be that. Remember, Pettersson is only 21. MacKinnon is only 24. So right now, obviously, MacKinnon's a better player than Pettersson, but I'm going to say that I think Pettersson can be just as good as MacKinnon. Not saying better, but just as good. And that's really my honest take. So that's Pettersson. We're going to call Pettersson and MacKinnon equal from a standpoint of impact at the end of the day, at the end of their careers. Let's go to Rantanen versus Boeser. Spoiler alert, I think Mikko Rantanen is a better player than Brock Boeser. And this one, we can compare a little more easily because they were both drafted in 2015. Excuse me, yeah, 2015. Now, Rantanen was drafted 10th overall. Boeser was drafted 23rd overall. So there's a big discrepancy there. Rantanen, a top 10 pick. Boeser near the end of the first round, a late pick, but a great steal for the Vancouver Canucks. Now, Rantanen is 23 years old. Boeser is 22 years old. And Rantanen has already had seasons of 38 in his rookie season. Then he jumped up right away to 84 points and then 87 points, including 31 goals last season. So again, Rantanen went from 38 to 84 to 87. Boeser in his 2 full campaigns, relatively speaking, both injury riddled campaigns, but he had 55 points and then he had 56 points, and we know that. So he's a 55-point guy so far, whereas Rantanen already has 2 seasons in the mid 80s. So is Boeser going to be as good as Rantanen? It depends what you want, but I don't see Boeser as being a regular 80-point player. I think if Boeser's a 65, 70, even a 75-point player, that's awesome, but I don't think he's going to be a regular 80-point plus. That's a point per game. Now, he's close to that this year, but he might go up and down. So maybe he winds up with 80, 85 points. That'll be awesome. But I predict Boeser to be more a 70 to 80-point guy, where I see Rantanen being more of a 85, 90-point guy once both those guys hit their prime. So I'm going to give the slight edge to Rantanen. That's not a knock on Boeser. I love the guy. I love his character. But Rantanen, I believe, is a special player. So I'm going to give the edge to Rantanen over Boeser. Landeskog, Horvat. This one's interesting. I'm going to say right away that I think Bo Horvat, his points don't show up, but I think Bo Horvat is going to be a more important, more impact player than Gabriel Landeskog. Now, Landeskog is 27. He's turning 27 at the end of this month. He's turning 27, where Bo Horvat just turned 20, is 24 years old. So there's a 3-year difference there. Landeskog's older, as all these Avalanche players are older than the Canucks players. And Landeskog's had many seasons. He's had a 52-point, 65, 59, 53, dropped down to a 33-point season 2 seasons ago, 62, and then last season had 75 points. So last season was the only season that he had more than 70 points. Horvat, in his career so far, has had a 40-point, a 52, a 44. That 44 was injury-riddled, and then 61 last year. So Horvat has barely broken 60 points. He's only done that once in 4 full years, whereas Landeskog has done that 3 or 4 times, including 75 points. So you're saying to me, Clay, well, how can you say that Horvat is going to be a better player than Landeskog? I think for what Horvat brings, i.e. the captaincy, of course, Landeskog is a captain too, so maybe that's not the best comparable as well. I just think that Horvat is more valuable to the Canucks than Landeskog is to the Avalanche. And Landeskog is very good, obviously, as a captain. He's a great player. All these players are great players. But there's something about Horvat's game. He's still finding consistency, but I think he's the emotional leader for the Canucks on the physical leader on and off the ice. And I just have a feeling that the point totals might not equal Landeskog's, but I think is the intangibles and the overall heart and soul of the team. And maybe that's because I don't follow Colorado, admittedly. And if any of you watching this know Colorado better, maybe you can call me out in the comments and say, no, man, everything you said about Horvat, you can say about Landeskog. But I just have a feeling that Horvat's going to be a more important player, more impactful player than Landeskog. I'm splitting hairs here. Maybe I'm trying to give the Canucks one tick in the win column, but I'm going to go Horvat over Landeskog. Maybe it's because Horvat is 3 years younger and there's the potential there to also be a 70-point player. I'm not so sure, but I just have a feeling, maybe it's because I'm biased towards Horvat, but I'm going to go with that Horvat over Landeskog, but very, 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 very slightly. And then you have the 2 phenomenal rookie defensemen. You know how much I love Quinn Hughes, but seeing Cale Makar in action live last night, I was blown away. The guy is a stud. He is so good. And I'm going to, Cale Makar was the 4th overall pick in 2017. Quinn Hughes, the 7th overall pick in 2018. Cale Makar is 21. Quinn Hughes is 20. So that makes sense, right? Makar is 1 year older, drafted 1 year before Hughes. So they have a similar development track. So maybe Hughes will be just as good as Makar is right now. Maybe Hughes will be that good next year. So even, I'm going to give the edge to Makar though too, just by a little bit, because I think he's going to peak at just a tiny bit of a better player than Quinn Hughes. And again, splitting hairs, Quinn Hughes, I think we are blessed to have him here in Vancouver. And Cale Makar is probably the only, Rasmus Dahlin too maybe, of the young defensemen in the league. Maybe Cale Makar and Rasmus Dahlin are the only 2, and Heiskanen, so maybe 3. But there's only a handful of young D-men that I'd rather have than Quinn Hughes. So I'm not complaining at all, but I just think when you stack him up to Cale Makar, you can't really, I don't think you can really argue that right now. At least right now, Makar, he's 22 points in 20 games, whereas Hughes has 14 points in 20 games. So that's an 8-point difference already, 1/4 of the way through the season. And again, I'm thrilled that we have Hughes, but I'd give the edge to Makar if I was to be completely unbiased. So to wrap up, I have MacKinnon and Pettersson equal. I have Rantanen over Boeser. I have Horvat over Landeskog, but I have Makar over Hughes. So if you add it up, you give points, 1 point for a win or whatever, 0.5. So basically that's 2.5 for Colorado, 1.5 for Vancouver. Vancouver, I have Horvat and half Pettersson, if that makes sense. For Colorado, I have Rantanen and Makar and half of MacKinnon. So that's my take. I would say that I'd rather have the Colorado core 4 very slightly or the Vancouver core 4, acknowledging though that the Canucks players are all younger to a man, right? And one other thing that I didn't talk about, I meant to talk about in my qualification to this, is I was just looking at those 4 players only. I wasn't looking at the Colorado Avalanche list of prospects. And they got great guys like Bowen Byram and Connor Timmins, and you have those 2 defensemen waiting in the wings. Then you have Alex Newhook, the forward, and then you also have Martin Kaut, the forward as well. I probably butchered his name. And then Vancouver Canucks, on the blue line, you have Juolevi. We're hoping for him despite his recent setback. Jet Wu up front, Podkolzin, Hoglander, and then of course you still have Michael DiPietro in goal, Tyler Madden as well. So a lot of good prospects for Vancouver. Maybe if you look at the whole team, you'd swing slightly towards Vancouver's favor with that list of prospects. And I think the biggest, one thing I didn't consider is in goal, we have a very young, still prospect, but coming to his own. Didn't have the best game yesterday, but Thatcher Demko. I don't think Colorado Avalanche have a equivalent goalie tandem in the future to Demko and DiPietro. So that would also swing the scale, towards Vancouver's favor. If you looked at the whole team, you looked at the entire picture. But for the purpose of this video, I was looking at the core 4, and right now I would say Colorado with a slight edge over Vancouver. I think Vancouver can close the gap as they get older, right? If we have to do this video again in 2 or 3 years when the core players for the Canucks are 24 and 23 years old. But right now I give the edge to Colorado, and if Vancouver though can equal, they don't even have to be better, if they can be just as good as Colorado's core 4, I think Canucks fans would be very happy with that. Okay, there's a lot there. I went for about 17 minutes here, but I'd love to know what you think, especially when you break down the core 4 of both teams and the way I broke it down. MacKinnon and Pettersson, Rantanen and Boeser, Landeskog and Horvat, Makar and Hughes. Tell me who you'd give the edge in each of those 4 matchups to, and then tell me what score you wind up. I wind up with a 2.5 to 1.5 Colorado or Vancouver with all those qualifications and and considerations in play, of course. Canucks fans, let me know what you think. Maybe this is an unpopular opinion, or maybe this is a legitimate, well thought out opinion. I'll leave that to you. Leave a comment below. I'd love to know what you think of this topic, and I think it's going to create a lot of good discussion. And back it up. Tell me why, which core 4 you'd rather have, and tell me why. Back it up with stats or your own gut feeling, whatever it may be, or just your own intellect or whatever it may be. I would love to know what you think. Leave a comment below. I'd love to read, react, and reply as always. Subscribe if you'd like to. Like this video if you'd like to. Enjoy the day. The Canucks don't play again until Tuesday, our rematch against the Dallas Stars team that just beat us on Thursday night here in Vancouver. God bless. Go Canucks, go.